So I actually first I would like to, because I know before we started documenting all this, you would kind of just like told me like pretty briefly why you thought it would be a good idea to document this and kind of where like that thinking comes from. And so that was at the very beginning. And so I'm just I just kind of want to like go over that again a little bit.
Okay, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. And it kind of seems funny when we set up, but I know it's like, I know why we're doing it. It's just, I thought you could explain it again.
Sure. Okay, so basically the idea was that there's a lot of things in it. There's like a ton of things wrapped up into this, but the basics, I guess, are there's so many crappy companies selling stuff that they're not very invested in, and they don't really care about. They just saw that, oh, lots of these sell, so they decide we'll sell them.
I could make money.
Yeah, it's like a money thing. And I'm not saying that business shouldn't be a money thing, because you have to make money or else it's not worth doing.
Right.
But basically what I wanted to do with this is, in a way, give people something to look at and hopefully get people to understand that this is more than just like a thing to make money. It's something that both you and I are invested in, care about, and particularly because you just had a new kid, you're a new mom, I'm a new uncle, and we're both pretty concerned about like these little things. And when I started originally doing the research on the mats, it just was all of a sudden so obvious that like even the ones that said they're non-toxic are junk.
Right.
So I thought it would be interesting to document it because it kind of gives us a bit of a track record, and it also like it gives people something to look at, and hopefully we can have like a bit of an audience with this, and hopefully we can develop like a line of communication with people who buy stuff from us,
Right.
which is awesome. That's what we actually want, because we want to sell stuff people actually care about.
Yeah.
And then just to like document the process, because I've like, you want to talk about background a little bit, maybe I'll talk about mine just a tiny bit. I've been doing online business for like 4 or 5 years. I have a finance and computer background, and I really wanted to work with you. And it's something that I always wanted, but because you didn't have a kid, and you have a great job, it's not something I felt like you were particularly motivated to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there was never the opportunity.
Yeah. And now with the kid, I can see that you're motivated. So I was like, okay, I want to work with you. Right.
Yeah.
So the documentation thing it's partly about building trust. It's partly about not being the kind of company that's just like, all we have is one product. It's about developing an audience for the stuff that we want to build, and opening lines of communication, and like building trust, basically. That's where I'm coming from anyways.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Should we talk about like where we've been since the last time?
Sure.
Because I think the last time we talked was at Mom's, and we were
Maybe hold it just a bit closer.
like talking about you had found some like cork yoga mats online.
Yes.
And we had just looked at them online, and we were curious as to what that would be like, because you had said that seems to be like the new hot thing for yoga mats is cork. So we were like, well, if it can stand up for yoga mats, then you would think that it could hold up for what we want it for.
Totally.
So you ordered these.
And these are just like cork fabric samples.
Right.
And
I like this one. I love the
so do I.
colors in that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so do I. I really like that one. It's like filled with a color somehow.
I know, because when you compare it to this one, there's like many more holes. Like this, I can't see this working unless we could figure out a way to. But this one, I think, has a little more potential. Like this one with the colors, because the holes are kind of filled, right?
Yeah, agreed. So on this one, I like put some oil on it.
You already did that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom and I put some some avocado oil on it.
Nice.
Just to see what would happen. So the oil drained right through, which was kind of good and kind of bad.
Right.
And we're still trying to figure out whether like cork apparently is waterproof, and however, it will absorb certain like pigments and stuff
Okay.
like that. But it's supposedly waterproof and doesn't actually absorb water or oil.
Okay.
But because there's little tiny holes all along this mat, the oil and water just went right through it.
Right.
So, I mean, it's better than it absorbing water because
Yeah.
we don't want it to
Yeah.
absorb water, but it's not as good as if it just like sat on the surface and could be wiped away.
So do you know, like, when, like, I remember before I bought my last condo, I was looking at a condo that had cork flooring, and it like looked really cool. I loved it for that reason. But then, so how does a floor work? How does a floor not just absorb the oil and, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So what's going on there?
Yeah, so I think that the way that works is there's actually like an epoxy layer on top. There's actually a layer of plastic essentially.
Okay.
It's no longer really cork.
Got it.
And that kills our
Yeah.
our plan of like being non-toxic. So there were some developments this morning with the cork supplier in Portugal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to talk about that yet or if we should wait and kind of go through the things you wanted to get cleared off the table first, because you have a little bit of a list today, right?
I do, yeah.
So why don't we?
I just kind of wanted to like recap on why we're doing this.
Okay.
Talk about how we've come to like the cork, like how we've come to kind of today.
Okay.
Oh, like we could maybe near the end, we could talk about after we like brainstorm some more here, we could just talk about like what are the things we need answered and who could we talk to get those kind of answers.
Sure. Okay.
So I think we're good to go to look at other stuff first. Do you?
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. So I'd been I'll hold the mic,
Okay.
and the reason we're holding the mic today is because I forgot the second cable, which makes us have to look like news reporters.
Yes, which is kind of awkward.
Which is quite awkward, but we're gonna just motor through it, I guess.
And did you buy all this equipment just for this? Like, what have you had in your house?
No, I have the camera for all my other stuff, all my other online stuff. So the camera's mine. The stuff that I bought so we could do this was like, I bought some mics. I bought a sound recorder. That's basically it. The lights and the other stuff are all for other businesses that I have. Yeah. So hopefully we sound good.
Yeah.
So I emailed somebody in Portugal who supplies cork yoga mats, and they gave us some pricing, and the pricing looks okay. It looks like we might be able to make it work.
Was that what you sent me?
That's what I sent
Okay.
you. Yeah. And so the interesting thing was, and maybe I'll pull up this email. Where is that email? Here he is. Okay, it's Cristiano Santos. And so let me back up just a second. With this cork thing, the fact that the water goes through it and the oil goes through it is a bit of an issue, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you're basically going to have to protect. It's like it protects your kid from the floor, but it doesn't protect the floor.
Right.
So we need to make that not happen. And we also need to make the little pores in the cork somehow not like take on the gunk that gets on it.
Right.
And then the other issue is that the softness of the mat's very important.
Yes.
And we want to make it so the kid's head bounces and not smashes.
Not just like a sheet on a hardwood.
Exactly. So I started talking to this guy about like, okay, we want to make it similar to a yoga mat. The shape's going to vary, but we also need it to be very, very soft.
Yeah.
And he said they use latex on the bottom to make the mats. So, and he also said it's natural latex.
To make the yoga mats?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think he said they can use latex. I don't know if that's for the yoga mat or not. I can't remember. But the interesting thing about that is there's a couple different kinds of latex. One of them is like plastic and poison.
Okay.
But natural latex comes from a rubber tree.
Right.
It's like insanely natural. It's antibacterial. It's a great material.
Okay.
It's a little expensive, but it sounds like they work with that material. It sounds like they can create a base of a mix between cork and natural latex. And it sounds like even the glue has no toxins in it. It's completely natural.
Okay.
So this morning I asked him, and I haven't heard back yet, whether they could actually pull, like, squeegee natural latex into the top of the mat to fill those pores and hopefully make it not collect junk and make it more waterproof and resistant.
Okay.
And I haven't heard back.
Okay. How did you come across this guy, and why Portugal?
So Portugal's the biggest cork producer in the world, apparently.
Okay.
It's like Portugal, then it's Spain, then it's Italy's like pretty small.
Okay.
So those three are like a big deal, but Portugal's the biggest. It's like a huge part of their economy. So I just started Googling Portugal cork suppliers, and this guy came up. I contacted like 2 or 3, but this guy seemed to be the most on the ball.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think we could probably do like a meeting with this guy and
Neat.
start talking to him about it. But like, I don't know, I'm kind of in between, like, is this the wrong thing? Is this going to work? And the other side is like, is it possible to make it just a couple little tweaks and make it work?
Like, personally, if there was a way to do a couple little tweaks to make it work, like, I would love this. Like, I think about what would look nice in this house, and like, yes, this look is my favorite, but I would be happy with a mat made of, like, I like that natural look. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even in like this house that does like have a fairly modern feel in the kitchen anyways. Well, really anywhere. Like, I just think cork can look so nice in like a modern home. It could look nice, like, no matter what your style is, right? Because part of this is like your style too. And yeah, like, I love the look of cork. Ever since we first saw those pictures on here that you were showing me, I've had cork stuck in my head. So if there was a way to make cork work, like, that would be my vote for sure. If we can make it work really well, right? Because yeah, we're kind of going down this hole now, like the cork hole, right?
Oh, yeah, we are big time. And like, you were talking about how basically we might need to make a compromise in terms of cleanliness or something, right? Like, what were you saying about all that?
I was just saying that, not like clean as in cleanliness. I was saying like, no. I was just saying, I think the very last time we talked was when we were just saying, like, you were saying, I don't know how to be like 100% green and non-toxic, like, because now we're talking about a piece of cork, and then we're talking about latex, and then we need to talk about what's going to go underneath it, and then we're going to talk about what meets the floor so it doesn't slide. And like, I was just saying that I think that a lot of people that do care about being green and being clean, not as in cleanly, but as in like non-toxic, like, a lot of those people already have come to the place where it's like, if you want 100% green and clean, they're also used to making some compromises in other areas because there's not a solution that hits all the points. Do you know what I mean? So I was just saying, like, if we can stay as green and as clean as possible, then, like, I guess I mean, we might not be able to create like something that checks all of the boxes 100%, like style and green, clean, and like everything. And I think that that's okay, because there doesn't exist anything maybe that can meet all of those criteria. And so it's like, what are the things we're willing to like talk about compromising on? And I think we both agree we want to be the greenest and the most like cleanest, like the most non-toxic cleanest, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's our number one goal. Mm-hmm. So if other things that are still important to us and still remain important to us, but they might not necessarily be the things that, like, we might have to compromise in other areas if this is our focus. If green and clean is our 100% focus and commitment, then I do think that, you know, there's other things that we might have to not deal with, but do you know what I'm saying? Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So I can stop trying. Yeah. Yeah.
I totally understand, but where is the line? Like, if let's say these mats get kind of gunky.
Yeah. Right. Like, that's something that, like, we can't we can't compromise too much on there, right? If we're talking about this mat might get gunky in like 3-4 years, then that's something, right? Because if I can guarantee that what I'm putting into this house that Enzo's going to be crawling on for, a few years or a couple years is non-toxic and has all this research behind it, I would be willing to say, okay, I might have to invest in another mat in 3 years, right? But if we're talking about like it's going to get grungy quick, then that's something we need to refocus on because we don't want that, right? Nobody's going to buy a mat that you can only have for a few months.
Yeah.
That's why I'm really interested in this being like coated in like a natural latex, because then you have the look and like the feel,
the function.
yeah,
And like what I'm thinking is that it's not actually
coated.
it's not
It just
coated,
fills
it's
the
filled.
holes.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's filled.
Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, because this is nice. This is soft.
Like I don't know if the latex can actually get in the little cracks, but even if it filled like 90% of them, it would be like a pretty big game changer. It would totally change the texture.
Should we like smear some stuff on here?
Yeah, you definitely.
Like I was thinking of like obviously wet, but also like if Enzo were to like eat oatmeal and raspberries and then like puke it up like a couple hours later, like
Right.
can I smear a raspberry on here?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let me get one.
So mom and I actually did smear a bunch of coffee on it. And what else, Mom, do you remember what else we put on it? We did spilled coffee, some oil. No dairy.
I have almond milk.
Okay.
Raspberry.
But it was pretty like resilient to yeah. Well, that's what we're talking about is somehow making it so that the liquid won't actually go through. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, like that, exactly. Exactly. Like that's the thing is right. It's not like this has to be like everything has to be able to be spilled on it, right? Because I still wouldn't want to spill just anything on that cheap mat too, especially with those holes in it now.
Yeah.
But like what like food that he would spit up, but it's not like I'm hoping that he doesn't like projectile vomit all over this, right? It's kind of like a dribble here and there,
Yeah.
right? Or like if food were on his clothes or something.
Right.
So like, should we use this one?
And well, yeah, go for it.
So this is just a raspberry.
So we're grinding raspberry into the cork. The other thing is that the mat that you have with the holes in it, it's already not.
Oh, yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, it's already not like wipeable anymore because stuff can get jammed in those holes, and those holes are going to come.
Yeah.
Right.
Dad was just commenting on that this morning when he was on there.
Yeah. So, but then it's one of those perception things. It's like people see plastic and they're like, oh, it'll be like wipeable and it'll be so easy to clean. But it's like, not really. And not only are those little cracks, those little crevices in the pattern on the top, like we talked about last time, but those holes in it are just like, you can't clean those holes.
No.
If he throws up on those holes, the stuff's getting in there
Yeah,
way more than it would ever get into that.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah. How is it?
Like, I don't know, I put like some mushed prunes on it too,
Okay.
just to see.
Like it's going to come through.
Yeah.
But the
definitely.
question is, does it actually get into the cork pieces?
Right. Like when you wipe it, there's.
It's taken on the color like a little bit.
Which I think is fine. Like I like when you guys put oil on this, you can barely tell it's there. But like we were talking about before, like that like weathered look isn't a bad thing,
Sure.
especially if you like the look of natural and cork, right?
And like once you run a soapy cloth over that, it's going to be clean. Like the
Right.
cork itself's antibacterial. It's clean. It cleans itself.
Okay.
And then once you rub like a soapy cloth over that, like that's 100% clean.
Right. But it's like, what does it do underneath there? Like, is it gonna start to grow like mold and shit?
Right. And yeah, I don't know. That's why we have to, like, I think that it's coming through in the cracks. I don't think it's actually coming through the cork pieces.
Right. So yeah, if we could find something to fill those holes. Because yeah, you can tell, like if you look, it's not coming through the cork. It's coming through the cracks between the cork.
Right. And the other thing is these cork samples, these are like very cheap. Like the actual pieces of cork are very small. But if we got cork, like cork is huge. It comes off in huge chunks of bark.
Okay.
It's just like wood, right? And if we got like giant pieces of cork, they just wouldn't have the same number of holes to fill. Like there's so many pieces in here glued together, right?
Right.
So yeah, so it might like stain a bit. I wonder though if you ran a soapy cloth over this, if it would not.
Should we try it?
Yeah, try it. Let's see if the color comes out.
Okay.
And like you said, is this a deal breaker? The fact that it takes on a little bit of the color of like a bright red berry. Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to be able to please everybody, and like you're saying, like we have to make compromises. And if this thing is like undeniably there's no issues with it for poison, and it's also basically recyclable, like it's almost edible.
Right.
I mean, hopefully there's enough people who are interested. Did it work? Did it come out? Or is it
Yeah, I think so. Like I just used a wet soapy cloth.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like maybe.
And that might just be because it's wet right now. But it has not altered the color very much at all.
No.
Especially with the look of cork, it wouldn't matter if there were, little, like this whole thing there, it's all full of different colors.
Yeah. So I don't know. We're like on the edge with this, hey?
Yeah, we need to hear back from this guy. We need to hear back from this guy about the like natural latex, and if he could do that.
The other thing I learned about cork, which I can't remember if we talked about, is the more cork trees, like all trees, they pull CO2 out of the atmosphere,
Okay.
but they do it in like extreme amounts.
Okay.
Like the more cork trees, this goes for all trees, but the more cork trees, the better. Like making cork is like, it pulls a ton of CO2 out of the atmosphere. So it's like so environmentally friendly.
Okay.
Same with latex, the natural stuff.
Cool.
Like and then it's all biodegradable. Like it's in a very environmental,
Okay.
like mat. So
Which is our priority,
Mhm.
right? Which is our goal.
yes.
And that's the thing is like when Dad and Rhonda were just here, they said, Rhonda was like, oh, at Costco, that mat's on sale right now for $39, right? And so that mat will always have its place, right? Because it does. We have that mat out at the RV, and that would be something that we're not there that often, right? Like it's outside. Like that's gonna always be our mat out there. But here, like when we're here all the time, and this mat is just sitting in here for years, like that's the priority, right? So that mat's always gonna have its place. But yes, for the people who are looking like us, who are looking for something safer and something that looks way nicer. And I like this idea so much more than when we were talking. Like, I hope it works out because I like it so much better than when we were talking about printing designs and coming up with designs and colors, right? Don't you? Like having something natural that's already designed and has its own color?
I do. I like it better too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's less corny than like some crazy print, like high contrast design.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are people that are doing that, right? Like those mats that you found with the nicer print, right? Like that's already there.
The other thing with this is we can offer a natural version, and then we could also do like a contrasty print on the mat too, with some sort of screen print. Like it's an option, maybe not something we offer in the beginning, but it's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like the other thing we have to look at is figuring out a way to, like, I think it's a good idea to sort of edge the mat, like in some way to almost make it look like a carpet or something. Like some of the samples I sent you, they have a little bit of an edging, but I almost think of like and this wouldn't be good for absorption, but almost like a carpet. You know, the way the carpet has like little like strands of string. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Around the core.
Oh.
Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know. That's something that I've been
Okay.
thinking about. I don't know if it makes sense.
For the edging, like because if you look at any other mat, the edging is just like a piece of fabric, right, around it.
Okay.
And I'm way less concerned about the edging because again, it's not like this has to withstand everything, right? So if the edging is made of something that might absorb, like that, they all are, right? And
That's true.
that's okay, because it's not like we're planning on like dumping paint and shit on it, you know, like. So that's what I mean. Those are the places where I think we can kind of like ease up a bit on, because that's not the priority.
It's more, the reason I'm thinking of edging is just to make it look a little bit more interesting rather than just like a piece of cork. I don't know.
We should mic her up.
Yeah.
For
Mic her
future
up in the background.
episodes.
Yeah, our mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing we talked about yesterday was like, should we, if this is going to take either too much time, or if like a mat, like we're saying, is unreasonable to do, should we find something like ridiculously simple to
Right.
do? Because we know who our audience is, right? Like
Yeah.
I think we know, and that's one of the most important things, is like the audience is kind of new parents who are fairly concerned about what's around their kids, especially stuff that their kids
Yeah.
spends lots of time with.
I feel like our audience, like, I know it's not, and I don't mean this judgmentally, but it should be like everybody right now. Like this is the day and age where like we should be concerned about what is in our house, right? Everybody should be. I know that everybody can't be,
Yeah.
but I feel like a lot of people should be thinking about this and wondering about this and wanting better, because we do in so many other areas, right? Like the food we eat and like our clothes and everything like that. And this is just one more thing that we should be thinking about, like in our house.
The thing is, when you have like a really broad, like I agree with what you're saying, but when you have a really broad audience like that, it's very hard to market to them, because there's so many people marketing to the middle of the market, trying to sell stuff to like the average parent, you know. And like you could say the average parent should care about these things, but we know that there's like 100 million reasons why they don't. Probably they have no clue. That's probably one of the biggest reasons. They have no idea. They don't have the time, cost. Like there's so many reasons. So we, like, for us, we need to, the easiest people for us to target are people who are like at least somewhat weary, or at least have thought about like what is around their kids, right?
People like us.
Yeah, people like you.
Yeah.
And people, like people who are thinking about materials, and like, and also people who like we said in the beginning, who kind of care about what's in their house in terms of aesthetics, right?
Yep.
So we roughly know our audience, and like, is there something we could start with that's just uber simple, like so simple that maybe is kind of cheap, even just something we can get out there and start connecting with people, right? Like we don't really care if we make a bunch of money right now. That's
No.
not really the idea. We kind of want to connect with people who are in this demographic, and like start kind of opening our ears to them to see what stuff they might be interested in, right?
Bring them along.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, lost the camera again, just like last time.
That's okay.
What were we saying?
I don't know.
Audience, and people were sort of
Bringing
trying
people along. Well, thinking about something that we could maybe start with.
Yeah.
And so we need to think about that.
Big time, yeah. And one good way to do it is, and unfortunately we don't have the screen connected today so people can see what we're doing, but one good, way to do it is, like, I was going on Pinterest,
Okay.
and all I was doing was just searching kids and then putting in, and like seeing what auto pops up.
Yeah.
So like, kids' room design doesn't work.
No.
Braided hairstyles doesn't work. Bedroom, maybe like something in the bedroom, I don't know. And you can kind of drill down a little bit further, like with letters, right?
Okay.
Kids' activities, art projects. Lots of this stuff doesn't really work for us,
No.
but it's a sort of a start to, like, new ideas, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay. I can do that.
One thing I was thinking about is those wraps, like those body wraps that people carry their kids in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like if we could make those out of a really nice fabric.
So those are like like that was such an endeavor for me to decide which one, because you can go to, like, I went to Bye Bye Baby and there's like 50 styles there to pick from, right? That was hard for me to figure out. The one I got, I think it's called the Mobi wrap, I think. I really honestly never used mine because Enzo was just really big and
Oh,
he needed something like with a little more structure. Yeah, yeah, it is the Mobi wrap.
okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm not sure what that one's made out of. I thought it was a good company. I thought it was like a clean company.
Okay.
But I honestly don't know. What if we just Google them?
Moby like that?
Yeah. I think. Oh, sorry, MOBY.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and the idea with this, I have one in Enzo's room. It's just, I actually asked Mom if she would start making me them. Before I knew I didn't really use it with him, but like my girlfriends all use this and love this. I just used a different one. But all it is a huge, long piece of fabric. That's it.
Really, hey?
That's it.
So
Yeah.
that's nice.
It's like a gigantic scarf.
Huh.
So, and I know one of my friends had, before he was born, showed me hers, like did a demo with her son. And I remember thinking, like, I love that pattern. It was really nice. But it wasn't as stretchy. And then when I bought it, and I actually bought mine secondhand because I didn't know if I would like it or not. And it's like really, really stretchy. So, and I don't know why or what material is better, or if it's all really just for looks. But yeah, these are very popular.
Yeah, and like maybe even this is too big of a market. Maybe this isn't a good market because it'll take, like, if they're that big, it'll be hard to.
And the other thing with this is I think of like safety regulations and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what if somebody's kid falls out of your wrap? Like,
For sure, but if all it is a piece of fabric,
and that is all it is.
yeah, there's probably not much that they could ask you to do other than like a certain strength of fabric,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But I just wonder, like, if there's this company called Original Fuzz, and they make guitar straps. But the guitar straps are like, the patterns are really, really nice. And they get them custom woven in like South America and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're very nice.
Yeah, and I just wonder if we couldn't integrate something like kind of like this into a wrap, or like, just because we're talking about aesthetics, right?
Yeah.
And like just something really simple where we offer something nobody else is, but it's the same, similar to the mat, but just way easier to develop.
You know what this reminds me of is they're all in Enzo's room and he's sleeping right now. But like babies who use soothers, have you seen when, like, he didn't use a soother for very long, but it's like a little piece of fabric. It's just like a guitar strap, but it's like this big, and you attach one thing to the soother. Like mine was just a loop you would string through the soother, and the other one would like clip onto them, so that like when they spit them out, because they spit them out constantly, they're not falling on the ground. But and that's another thing that when I was shopping and I went to Bye Bye Baby, I was like, holy shit, people would spend $60 on this thing.
So okay, is it just the strap, or does it have the soother?
It's just the strap.
So it's just a strap.
It's just a strap with a little, when he wakes up, we'll get one. It's a strap with a little clip that clips onto their clothes. And then it's like probably about that long, because it's like you can't have anything longer, right? You don't want them to like choke on it or wrap it around them or anything like that. It's like that. And then the other side is just a teeny little loop, so that you can like loop it through their soother, because their soother either has a handle, or if it's a different kind of soother, it has like a little hole on the side.
Very interesting.
So, and there's lots of different kinds. You can go and like, can you get me a new window?
Sure.
So, like, baby soother. clips, baby soother clips. Yeah, stuff like this. So this is another style, the plasticky ones. But like these, some of these sell in stores for $40 to $60. And they're just
Those ones up top from Etsy, those ones are kind of like, these ones look almost now like almost exactly like what.
yes. And so I bought him ones and they're just a piece of jean.
Okay.
And that's not a bad price. They can get.
I mean, we're not going to make millions or connect
No.
with millions like selling these things, but it's so simple
Right.
that it might be a good place to start.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I guess we should figure out like if everybody's doing this, then I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Because we want something that's not everybody's doing, right?
Totally agree. It should be
Okay.
like, it should be something weird and like often like a strange.
So let's keep thinking.
Okay. Keep thinking. Going to Pinterest and doing those type in things,
Yeah.
or Amazon, it's a good way to come up with ideas, because like all of a sudden not only are they ideas, but people are looking for them.
Okay, right.
Right? So it's not some weird thing that nobody cares about.
Okay.
But if we can just, I don't know, if we could just like introduce some of these interesting like textiles, doesn't have to be this exactly, but just like some interesting patterns into a product that maybe isn't even that popular, that there isn't a million people doing it,
Right.
but we just can get something out there.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what we have to do. So
Okay.
like is there anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I think like our homework for next time, if you will, is we need to get your response from that guy in
Yeah.
Portugal, the cork guy.
You know what I think we just did?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Oh, no, that's not him.
okay.
That's a sweater I want to buy.
Oh,
Unrelated. No, we haven't heard back from him yet.
okay.
Okay.
So that's
sorry.
homework. We need to figure that out. And then start brainstorming about maybe another product. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. So hopefully, like next time we talk, why don't we each come up with a couple of ideas? Maybe like two.
Okay.
And then we can talk about them. And yeah, like you said, hopefully we hear back from the mat, because maybe the mat will work right away. But the other thing is we're going to have a minimum order quantity, just like you've experienced before.
Right, yes.
So are we going to be willing to spend that like a huge
I
chunk
know.
of money? We can't. We have to see it. And
I know.
I actually asked them, can we come? Like, could I go over there? Because I would do it. Like, if we're serious, I'd fly over there and check out the material. But he's like, not with COVID, not right
Okay.
now. So it's going to be delayed.
Like, would he be able to, if say he comes back and he says, yes, we can use this like natural latex to fill the holes, would he be able to do a piece and send it to us to
I
see?
would imagine so.
Okay.
If he can't, I'd be pretty suspicious.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's what we need.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to need it for testing. Like, there's no way we can make a bulk order without having it here to test.
Right. Right.
Right? It'd
Yeah,
just
yeah.
be stupid.
Okay.
So, yeah, okay. Okay, so we're done, I think.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yep, that's good.
This is a
We
good
know
one.
what we're doing.
Okay. Okay, ciao.